Okay, here is the Crossman Classic Pistol. I'll get around and show you a little bit about this gun. Okay, talking about this mostly. The one tool that I use for this gun is a Swiss Army knife my dad gave me when I was about 12 or 10, something like that. These two blades, this makes a great little screwdriver for any adjustments that I have to make. This has got a wider blade for other things. There are other things that you can do with this. Some people say that you can, I don't know if you can do that or not, but as screwdrivers it's good. Some of the other tools that are in here, just knife blades, are not that I use for anything other than just trying to cut something. These are handy to have as well for different things. Anyway, nice to have if you're screwing around with firearms. These are the pellets that I can get easy enough here in Hawaii. We don't have a good selection on the Big Island, maybe on Oahu or some other places like that, where there's more of a presence of air gunners and shooters. Might have a bigger selection of this. I do have to order. It's expensive. It's like 10 or 12 bucks just for shipping. So you kind of stick to what's available. These are not a very good pellet. They're not as accurate. The pellets, and I might go into this a little bit more, but and I know it's hard to see right here. When you look at the pellet, most of them that you see in here are pretty good shape, perfectly round almost. But you do get some that are not anywhere near perfect. And this is not quite a good example. But I had one earlier that actually had a bent skirt. And for what I'm doing here, that's not going to affect your accuracy too much. If you're shooting at tin cans and things like that. It's certainly going to add a dot or at a a less than inch type target. Your pellet is going to depend upon how well your base of the pellet. So I use what's called a dapping tool, and before I finish this video, I'll show you what I use. But metal workers use these dapping tools. They've got little round edges on them, and you can get the circumference of these things to be perfectly, oh, here comes the white. She's not moving us. Okay, so pellets are important. These are run-of-the-mill type pellets. I don't know, there are lots of other pellets that are out there that I'm sure would give you much better accuracy. But these work for me and for what we're doing. You gonna listen?
Huh?
You gonna listen?
No. Malama is too damn expensive.
Huh?
Malama is expensive.
Okay, so what are the benefits of this particular pistol? I've modified this pistol in 2 or 3 different ways. One, I installed a steel breech on the gun here. Much more secure, much more sturdy. The original breech that was on here was more like a hard form plastic, whatever. I have the original bolt still. I'm sorry, not the original bolt. I have the bolt that came with the kit for this. That original. Others have put larger bolts on here, a little round bolt, but I don't have too much of a problem cocking this thing and putting pellets into it. It's pretty easy. It's got a safety, push safety here, standard run-of-the-mill stuff. And I just discharged the gun into this. There's no air in it. I've also, on the front here, put a heavier bolt through here with screws on it. And that has helped. When you start getting into some of these heavy 15 and 20, there's a lot of pressure that builds up in this thing. And so there's a lot of pressure that's going onto the breech as you're cocking, for example. And so it's nice having a nice solid grip when you're pumping it up. So would I recommend this gun? Few small things. This seems a little loose. It's not a big deal. There's a lot of ways that you can tighten it up. But it does drop occasionally, but it hasn't when I'm shooting, so it doesn't really bother me too much. The gun is fairly well balanced. It is front heavy, obviously, because of the barrel, but because of the heavy weight of the breech and everything in the back, it balances out pretty easy. And it's an easy gun to maneuver, and it's an easy gun to shoot. It's easy to develop safe practices with a gun like this. One, you're shooting one shot at a time, so you're getting to think between each shot what you're planning on doing. And I'm very satisfied with the accuracy, for me, of this gun, with the sights that have come with it. I put these sights on it, and these have minute adjustments on it, side to side, that are easy to, it's click adjustable. Same thing with the elevation. The front sight, you're stuck with what you got, so it's the rear sight only. And this rear sight doesn't go up high enough for this gun for a 6 o'clock hold at 30 yards at 6 pumps. Now, a lot of people are using 10 pumps typically on this thing, and I don't do that, but that might flatten out the trajectory enough that a 6 o'clock hold for something at 30 yards will work. It doesn't work for me. So I've had to learn how to position this thing on the target in order to hit it. But this is something that you learn when you shoot, and if you shoot often, and I try to shoot as often as I can. Great way to spend a lockdown. It's a great way to relieve stress. It's a great way to enjoy yourself and target shoot. And shooting at targets, paper targets, are not my cup of tea. I can't do it. I have to shoot at things that move around so I can have fun with my shooting, and which is why I use that wash tub back there with a bunch of cans hanging in it. That's what's worked for me. So Premier pellets, they're good for plinking, good for 30 yards, maybe more, I don't know. I haven't shot this gun beyond 30 yards. I mean, not anything serious. So, you know, they're cheap enough, and, you know, they'll give you your practice. There's, what is it, 500? Yeah, there's 500 pellets in here. I've gone through about 750 pellets in the last 3 days. So once you start shooting, it's nice to have a lot of pellets around, and you can't beat a 22. 22 has just enough power and weight in the pellet. I know on the video you may have seen that if you looked at it, we've had some screaming winds in here recently. They've been 15 knots minimum. Even right, we don't feel it right here right this second, but even right now we have a 7 or 8 knot wind right here right now, and I'm looking at trees out there that are just so this gun and these pellets have done extremely well. You'll notice there's a little drift to the left on some of the targets, but the wind has been a crosswind here, screaming from right to left. And this gun has done a good job of overcoming that at 30 yards. So, you know, don't be afraid of the elements with this thing. Tools around guns, a little Swiss Army knives are the best. This is a very simple, basic Swiss Army knife. It doesn't have anything other than 2 blades and corkscrew and something to dig a hole with here. This haven't been in this knife for a while, so what's it got on here? A little bit of blood. Okay. Yeah, I've used this for skinning as well. Okay, so that is about it for my afternoon. I've enjoyed myself. I hope you folks have enjoyed yourself. You know, we'll be doing other videos on older guns. I have a pump, 397 I think it is, or 372 or something like that. Anyway, it's like this. It's a pump 22. I'm going to do a little video on it as well. The purpose of me doing this primarily is the fact that we see videos all the time on everything new that comes out, and you know, their oohs and ahs and boy, this is great, this is the neatest thing, sliced bread doesn't have application anymore, etc., etc. But some of us are stuck with old guns like me. This is an old gun. Well, not that old actually. I have an older one. This gun actually I think I got last year. But I do have a lot of old guns. I have a Crossman Nitro Venom that I was shooting, and I started to shoot. Nothing against Crossman, but that gun failed with less than 100 pumps, or I'm sorry, less than 100 shots. The compression canister failed, so it holds no air right now. I'm actually debating whether I even want to buy another, I forget what you even call those things, you know, the yeah, anyway, the brake barrel, the nitro piston or whatever they call it. Anyway, it failed. Very few shots on it. It's the second one that has failed for me, and I'm just not convinced that I want to go into the brake barrel thing much more. Not having much luck. PCPs are a lot better. Things like this, not a PCP, but it's a pump. It's like a PCP in that you're pumping air into it, storing air, and then shooting it. It doesn't require springs or whatever, but and these can go wrong too. But this is an easy gun to get into, as is probably that Crossman. I haven't taken it apart yet. I got it out of the gun, so we'll see how that goes. But these guns are a lot more fun for me, and I think, and more durable. I've never had a failure with this. And my other Benjamin pump rifle is a 50-year-old gun, and I replaced the seal in it with a leather seal, and this is many years ago, and it's still working. Now they have better rubber products for that, and if it ever fails, I'll fix it again. But since it's not working, now we're going to do a video on that gun tomorrow. It's a fabulous gun. It's an old gun. I'm liking old guns. I'm liking used guns. There's no reason why you can't get into this sport for cheap and have a very reliable piece of equipment that you can use for years and years and years. At least that's what we're going to try to show. We're just starting this. Some of these guns, the one I'm going to use tomorrow, it's an older gun. It's over 50 years, maybe 60 years. I'm not even sure. I've had it since I was 20. I've had that gun for 50 years. And my dad had it before him. So that gun could be really old. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for us today. And we will come back tomorrow and continue on with this little series of shots that we're doing. All right, take care.